Weapon systems? Check. Shields operational? Check. Tauntaun and Darth Vader bobbleheads? Good to go. So I actually got the chance to go hands-on with the upcoming Star Wars Squadrons game, which releases later this year on October 2nd. And in this video, I'm going to tell you about my experience with the flight combat in this game, including the controls, all of the different classes in Starfighters, the cockpit, customization, and the different modes I got to play, which included Dogfight Mode, Fleet Battles, and even the single player campaign. And a huge thanks to EA for inviting me out to the digital event where I and fellow game changers got a chance to battle out in space, and we all had an absolute blast. Now I'm going to be honest here, before I went into this event, I was a bit skeptical about this game. The biggest concern for me was the forced first-person perspective, because if you didn't know, the game only supports first-person view, and I really wasn't sure how I felt about this, especially considering that I usually play in third-person view in other flight combat games, but I kept an open mind when going into this event. Now, once I was strapped into my cockpit, the level of immersion was way more than I expected, and the actual feeling of flying translated extremely well through the controller. And in my playthrough, I was using the Xbox One controller. And I think the reason why this first-person perspective works so well in this game is not only because of the great controls, but because of the way the user interface, like your radar map and weapon system, is displayed as real objects right there in your cockpit. Gone are the days of fake radar maps and user interface elements. This is the real deal right here, and it felt so much more real seeing the enemy showing on my radar display within the actual cockpit. And remember, each cockpit is completely different, so this adds even more to the immersion. This immersive cockpit experience is single-handedly one of the coolest parts of this game. Trust me, when you get into your cockpit for the first time, you'll understand what I'm saying. And let's not forget that VR should be even more immersive as well.
Impressive.
And speaking of immersion, there's also tons of customization you can do to both the inside and outside of your ship. You can unlock and add fun bobbleheads like the Ewok, Darth Vader, Tauntaun, and even this pod racer here, which was definitely one of my favorites. And on top of this, you can also add different hologram displays and other such items to the interior, as well as customize the exterior with custom paint and emblems. By the way, where is my Porg bobblehead? And during my playthrough, I played with every single starfighter available. There are 8 starfighters in total, and they all feel completely different from one another. Take the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, for instance. They are all around good fighters that can pretty much handle anything, including taking down enemy ships and attacking larger capital ships as well. The TIE Bomber and Y-Wing, on the other hand, are slow, but have a lot more health. Therefore, they are perfect for taking out the larger ships. However, if speed is your game, then of course the TIE Interceptor and A-Wing are the go-to vehicles, but there is a trade-off here. They're very fragile and can be taken down easily, so you have to be very careful. And finally, you have your support ships, the U-Wing and TIE Reaper. These ships provide healing capabilities to other ships and can also release defensive turrets and do a whole lot more. So if you enjoy a support type role, these are the ships for you. And remember, you can add tons of components and abilities to your ships as you play, so it's not just limited to those abilities I mentioned. You can do all kinds of stuff and unlock over 50 components for your starfighters. Overall, in my experience playing the game, I felt that the fighter class, with its X-Wing and TIE Fighter, as well as the bomber class with its Y-Wing and TIE bomber were the most effective. And even though these different fighters have different abilities, they all share something in common, a power management system. And I absolutely love this part of the game. With this feature, I could quickly control how much power I gave to my weapons, shields, or engine. So during my playthrough, if I was pursuing an enemy, I would immediately divert all of my power to my engines to go faster, and once I caught up to my enemy, I would then immediately switch power to my blasters and unload all of my firepower on my enemy. It was tons of fun diverting power, and it really made me feel like I was connected to my starfighter in a whole new way, as if I was the true commander over my own ship.
The New Republic is finished here.
So now let's dive deeper into the different modes, and as you know, I got the chance to play multiplayer with the game's Dogfight Mode and Fleet Battles mode. Dogfight Mode is a straight up team deathmatch, so whoever gets the most kills wins, and it was tons of fun. I love this mode. And Fleet Battles mode is the heart of Star Wars Squadrons and involves taking down capital ships. In this mode, I spawned in the pre-game lobby, which was freaking awesome, might I add. And this pre-game lobby is available in all of the modes from what I've seen. And this is where I could see my teammates and the map, as well as go into the hangar and choose my ship and loadouts. It's really cool to see. I could even take a detailed look at my starfighter and hop into the cockpit as well, which is a really cool addition. Now, once deployed, I was first tasked with dogfighting the enemy in this Fleet Battles mode. And if my team won the dogfight, we then would get the chance to attack the enemy's medium-sized capital ships. Then, if we successfully took down those ships, my team would then have to take down the big one, the enemy flagship. So technically, there's about 3 phases in this mode. Now, Fleet Battles mode is like a pendulum that swings back and forth because at any time, the enemy team can successfully defend, giving them the attack position on your fleet. This means you'll have to adjust your strategy and change ships depending on the situation. So if I were attacking the enemy's capital ships, for instance, I would switch over to my fighter or bomber class. However, if I was put into a defensive position and had to defend our flagships, I would then switch to something like an interceptor or support ship. And in some cases, I would always stick with the fighter class, regardless of the situation, since the fighter class can handle pretty much anything dished at it. Now, there were times that the enemy also sent out an AI attack ship that was much larger than the other ships, and we had to desperately defend our capital ships against it. There were so many tense and fun moments in this mode, and I'm already itching to play it again. Now, it wasn't perfect. There were some issues here and there, but keep in mind, this was an early build, and I'm sure they're going to fix some of these issues before the game releases. And last but certainly not least, I did get to play a portion of the single player campaign. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it looks very promising. I won't go into story details, of course, but the campaign did an awesome job of introducing the characters while also getting you used to the different controls and concepts of the new power management system. Plus, I got to play both sides of the battle, the New Republic and the Empire, and it was awesome seeing just how these two stories directly intersected. And, you'll get to see it yourself. It's really cool how they did it. So there it is, my hands-on with Star Wars Squadrons. I walked into the event skeptical of the game due to its first-person only view, but walked away so excited to play more of it. And I can't wait to get my hands on the game again when it releases later this year on October 2nd and play the game with you all. And let me know, what was your favorite part of the gameplay I showed you? What are you looking forward to most in this game? Are you looking forward to the multiplayer? Are you looking forward most to the single player? Let me know in the comments. There's so much to look forward to with this game, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if there's any more new info coming out about Star Wars Squadrons, I'll be sure to make a video on it. So don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more news on Star Wars Squadrons. And again, thanks to EA, for inviting me out to the event. I had a blast playing with fellow game changers at the event, and I will see you all out in space, fellow pilots. May the Force be with you, always.
Approaching the battlefield.